Oh my God, so happy.
failed, sending shockwaves through the emotional proceedings. Jubilation
comes to 15-month-old.
Even after you found out that he was married, you should have left him alone.
Okay.
Come on, like what kind of woman are you? Who does that? Now you got a baby. Not only that, you don't even know who your baby daddy is.
Took a DNA test before he started paying child support. Have Lil in the pulley, bring your legs up. Look here, see how white I am? Look how white I am. Pull your pants leg up, Lil.
Miss Lena is hoping that she wouldn't have to pay the price for her mistakes, but most importantly, that it won't affect her baby daughter, Christina. Miss Lima slept with Mr. Anderson, a married man who wants to show he's not Christina's father, or his marriage will go up in flames.
It all started from a Facebook message when Mr. Anderson was messaging me on Facebook. So we started being friends online for about a year and a half. Then out of the blue one day, he called me and said, let's go out for dinner. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything, so why not? We went out to dinner and we got a hotel room that night. We had sex.
Just one moment, ma'am.
Oh boy, so Mr. Anderson has a whole closet of secrets. He was having a secret relationship with Miss Lima for almost a year, and then Mrs. Anderson found out. Even Miss Lima didn't know that the guy was married.
I decided to go out and take Miss Lima out one night. We had sex that night.
Was it one night or was it a year?
But it was one night, and then she come telling me that, she's pregnant, she having a baby, and she says mine, she wanted to be my baby and all that type of stuff.
So, how does Mr. Anderson react when Miss Lima shows up to his doorstep claiming she's pregnant and the baby is his? Well, he doesn't take it lightly and starts talking about how he's got nothing to do with this baby and he just wants to make things right with his wife and kids.
When you find out you're pregnant, who do you tell?
I went to Mr. Anderson at first. I went to his family.
So you did sleep with another man during the window of conception during that time?
Correct.
And you were sleeping with both men without protection?
Correct.
So how did you finally get in touch with him?
Well, I got in touch with him later, we met up and we had sex again when I was around 4 months pregnant.
The worst part is that Mrs. Anderson is in the court right there, and she has to bear through the pain of going through this again. As if the cheating itself wasn't bad enough. It's revealed that Mr. Anderson had 5 kids with his wife, but not just that, they had a business together.
Even after you found out that he was married, you should have left him alone.
Okay.
And I tried to keep it together for my children. But it really, really hurts. And just to know that there could be another baby in my family, come on.
But it seems that even Miss Lima isn't telling the court the entire truth. When she was seeing Mr. Anderson, she confessed she once went behind his back and slept with someone else. So now the question is, does she really know who the father of her baby is?
When you look at your child, do you feel like she looks like one man or the other?
Mr. Anderson has a child that she looks exactly like her, the way her eyes is.
You know what his kids look like?
Yes.
She been around my children. Are you serious?
Wait a minute. When?
Are you serious?
I'm on sometimes, he'll come meet me with the kids with him.
Mrs. Anderson has tears streaming down her face, and Mr. Anderson apologizes to her. But the simple fact is that no sorry in the world can fix her broken heart right now. Mr. Anderson claims he's never seen baby Christina in his life. But can he really be trusted?
Ms. Lima, do you feel like one man or the other?
Mr. Anderson has a child that she looks exactly like her,
Her daughter looks like some of your children if she's never seen them.
She must be passing by and
No.
stalking, stuff like that.
Damn! Mr. Anderson has a lot of lies up his sleeve. Miss Lima reveals she thinks that her daughter resembles some of his kids. And then Mrs. Anderson blows up knowing this. Judge Lauren calls the entire situation a nightmare. Well, guess it's time enough now to know the truth.
Mr. Anderson, you are not her father.
It's going to be an insane moment when a 32-year-old comes to court searching for the truth about his father. In the case of Mr. Bradley, he's found the perfect candidate of who could be his father, but Mr. Tessiner firmly denies all these claims.
Bradley, you say for 19 years you've wondered, who is my father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're hoping today's DNA test solves your intricate family mystery. Mr. Tessiner, you claim you are 100% sure you are not Mr. Bradley's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say another man is on his birth certificate and paid child support.
The reason why Mr. Tessiner thinks he's not the father is because of a lot of reasons. According to him, Mr. Bradley doesn't look like him at all. But the most insane reason is that he's too tan. Plus, the conception dates don't add up. Maybe lead with that one instead of too tan.
Explain to the court why you're so sure you're not Mr. Bradley's father.
I remember pulling over on the side road one time to make out. I cannot even remember having sex with her, and I never knew that she was pregnant or that a baby was born.
Never.
Never.
So what convinced Mr. Bradley that this man is his father? Well, it was his aunt who told him that his mother hadn't been very honest with him. Miss Bradley is in court as well, and Judge Lauren asks her questions about her relationship with Mr. Tessiner.
You, of course, remember having a relationship with Mr. Tessiner.
Yeah.
He says he knew nothing about you being pregnant or anything. What happened during that time when you found out you were pregnant?
I had told Mr. Tessiner that I was pregnant.
But it looks like Mr. Bradley holds a lot of resentment against his mother. He claims she knew who his father was, but deliberately hid it from him. On top of that, she got another man to get his name printed on his birth certificate, which sounds pretty fishy.
The other man is paying child support and even going to jail for failure to pay it.
Yes.
I think he looks like the other man, and I heard that the other man took a DNA test before he started paying child support. Have Lil to pull his britchy legs up. Look here, see how white I am? Look how white I am. Pull your pants leg up, Lil.
But Mr. Tessiner has a theory of his own. He thinks that the man who signed the birth certificate was the biological father, and that's why he agreed on paying child support. But when he didn't, they sent him to jail. It feels like these two are just uprooting his life for no reason.
When I was 18, I made her go pick him up, and I told him in the car that I was not his son. She said, when y'all started dating, Anita was already pregnant with him.
So she told you point blank?
Point blank. She said, I told you so. Because I seen her later on at my great-grandmother's funeral, or the one I thought was my great-grandmother.
Now, the secrets just keep coming out. Mr. Tessiner thinks that Miss Bradley is a liar, but on top of that, he starts pointing fingers at Mr. Bradley too, and says that he's lying just like his mother. Turns out he helped Mr. Bradley get a house. But why would he do that if he's not his son?
And why would somebody else
If I ever owe you
if he's mine?
anything,
Why would
as far as
somebody
child
else keep on
support,
if
I'll be
mine?
glad to pay that back.
Why would somebody else be paying if he's mine?
Or he go to jail, which he did do at some point.
And that's what really made me mad about the whole thing was me seeing him in jail. You can't give a man his freedom back.
Miss Bradley's poor memory and unreliable stories have created too much of a mess that even Judge Lauren doesn't know who to believe. Meanwhile, Mr. Bradley just wants to know the truth about his father, and it's just about the time to reveal the results.
It has been determined that Mr. Tessiner are his father.
Now, this one's a pretty wild one because the actual guy involved can't come to the court. Why? Because he's under arrest. Miss Williams has come to prove that Mr. Adams is the father of her baby, but it's not her fault he's going to jail.
Enlighten me on this situation. You were in a relationship with Miss Williams.
No, I really wouldn't call it no relationship. You know, I met her at a house party. She tried to have sex with me on the first date, so that was a judge of character right there.
But you weren't in a committed relationship.
No, Your Honor.
Because Mr. Adams can't leave his state, he sent his mother, Tanya Adams, to defend him instead. Miss Williams tells the court the truth. While she was sleeping around with Mr. Adams, she had been seeing other men as well.
Me and my ex was still trying to make things work, and we were still messing around. You know, me and my ex both thought like, oh, you're the father or whatever. So we just went through that whole year. I was pregnant. I didn't mention him about the baby until I found out it wasn't my ex.
It's so irresponsible how Miss Williams has taken care of this matter because it's put Mr. Adams under great jeopardy now. She says she never forced any fatherly duties onto him and just wanted him to get a DNA test. But how come he got arrested for not paying child support?
Another situation, we was in a department store and I seen her. She was with a guy. She was around 9 months pregnant. And I asked her to sit down and talk to me for a minute. She said, I'm positive that that's not your son's child.
Did you tell her that, Miss Williams?
No, that's a lie. She never seen me when I was pregnant.
Yes, I did.
It's turning into a big fat mess, especially with how Tanya seems to have a lot of proof of Miss Williams lying and excuses. According to Tanya, she heard Miss Williams claim several times that the baby boy, John, wasn't Mr. Adams' son, and they didn't have to worry about it at all. But she turned things around.
It's not his.
Yes.
But you understand why this could make her doubtful.
Yes, I do.
And she letting everybody babysit while she go to the strip club ain't doing her no
Again.
good. Because I babysitted the child
First
and
off-
she didn't come get me for 2 days.
Listen,
Really?
So the chaos started when Miss Williams thought that the baby was her ex's, but when they got a DNA test, it came back negative. At the same time, she had told Mr. Adams the baby wasn't his. Then, when the tests came back negative, she went back to Mr. Adams. But by then, he had grown suspicious.
do you understand why she then came to you, or you feel like there's other people in the picture as well?
Well, actually, Your Honor, I do feel like it was other people as well.
What evidence you have to suggest that?
My mother told me that she talked to Miss Williams and that Miss Williams stated that she had some other guys tested as well.
Then, Mr. Adams began to receive documents asking him that he had to pay $99 each month for child support. He felt angry that he was being asked to pay for a kid who he knew for sure he hadn't fathered.
Basically, I was walking to the store to get some cigarettes. Police just ran our names. Now, I didn't even know I had a warrant. So I gave them my name proud, like, I'm Lassiter Adams. I ain't think I had no warrant. Come to find out, he come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adams, you got a warrant for child support. I'm like, what? And next thing you know, he put me in the back of the car in handcuffs.
All of this could have been avoided if only Mr. Adams had taken things in life a little more seriously and shown up for that DNA test. Tanya and Miss Williams keep going back and forth, throwing insults in each other's faces, so the only way to settle this is to open that good old envelope and put this to rest.
It has been determined that Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Mr. Adams, you done come to the wrong courtroom clowning. This is not a joke.
Mr. Johnson seems to be in the mood of some big decisions, and right now, it's his relationship with his fiancée that's hanging on the line. According to him, her daughter Camila was fathered by her ex-boyfriend, and if the DNA tests show that, it's the end for them.
Mr. Johnson, you claim you are here today with a relationship on the line. Now, you are convinced your fiance's 8-month-old daughter, Camilla, was fathered by her ex-boyfriend and not you. If the DNA results prove your deepest fears are true, you say you plan to leave her and never look back.
Well, this is a pretty strange story. They weren't even together for that long, and Miss Quintero was already switching from one man to another. When Mr. Johnson couldn't come see apartments with her, Miss Quintero decided to go with her ex, of all people.
So, during the window of conception, did you have sex with Mr. Johnson and your ex?
Yeah.
Okay, so in a nutshell, that's why we're here. All right, what are you holding?
I just had this calendar. It just states when Cammie was born, and the 2 months at the top is midway when me and Maria started talking in March, and February was the month when she was with her ex.
According to Mr. Johnson, the conception window points towards the ex being the father. But then Miss Quintero reveals an important fact. The baby was supposed to be born on December 13th, 2013, but she came a month early. Now, this changes things.
Do you believe what this calendar represents?
Yeah.
And so?
Sorry to interrupt you. Her due date was December 13th. She was born a month and a half early.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your estimation, you feel like if she was born around the projected due date, then that would have put the calculation back in the months when you two were back together.
Turns out, despite Miss Quintero already telling Mr. Johnson the truth about being with her ex, he decided to be the better man and show up for his woman and his future child. He supported her during the entire pregnancy and was even present during birth just so he wouldn't have regrets later.
Up until recently, I'm at work and I have people coming up to me like, hey, your girlfriend was with this guy at this time.
What do people at work know about your business?
Oh, well, I publicly display my daughter, and everybody in our community pretty much knows Maria was with that other guy a long time.
Miss Quintero even submits to the court a hilarious Facebook post where there's a picture of Mr. Johnson sticking his tongue out just how Camila does. Miss Quintero even claims that the baby looks a lot like Mr. Johnson. But the question is if Mr. Johnson holds any kind of regret in his heart.
So do you regret signing the birth certificate before you knew whether or not she was your biological child?
No, I don't, because of the fact, like I stated, I would hate to have missed out on that, being there all that time. And two, me and Miss Quintero actually spoke about it before the lady came in with the birth certificate. And I told her that I was willing to sign it. So then no, I don't really regret that at all.
The thing that confuses Miss Quintero is that even though Mr. Johnson had all these doubts, he stayed with her through this whole ordeal. But now he's engaged to her and suddenly putting the entire relationship on the line. What's on his mind?
I didn't want to sit here and waste my time judging Miss Quintero instead of sitting there, going to my doctor's appointments, being there for the child, because what if later on, I just didn't know if later on, if I had, if I missed all of that.
And whenever the two of them get into an argument, he ends up bringing up Camila and saying that he denies her as his daughter. Well, Mr. Johnson might be a good man, but that's not the right way to do things. Guess only the results can clear the air now.
Mr. Johnson, you are her father.
Oh, man.
Can I get a hug?
I'm sorry.
She always kept her phone on her. She never let him get a hold of it. And when she was on it and he would come around, she would hide it.
But I want to know why. Why are you lying?
Mr. Thompson is not your father.
I'm your mom and dad.
Get ready for a jaw-dropping courtroom drama that'll keep you at the edge of your seat. Miss Whitman's secret is about to be exposed, and it's a shocker. The man she loved, the one she cheated on, may just be the father of her daughter. Will Mr. Anderson step up to save their relationship? You won't believe the twists and turns in this case.
The man you claim you love is standing in our courtroom hallway.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you confess you cheated on him with the defendant. Mr. Anderson, you knew Miss Whitman was in a relationship when you slept with her, yet claim she was also intimate with other men as well. You hope today's results will prove you are not the father of Miss Whitman's daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on tight. Did Mr. Anderson discover the pregnancy through Facebook? Or was it all part of a twisted game? Miss Whitman's web of lies is getting entangled. Will the truth come out, or will the mystery deepen? This courtroom showdown is getting intense.
I sent you the picture of the pregnancy test.
And you sent it to Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you send it to anybody else?
I sent it to Mitch, too, through Facebook.
Mr. Mapson?
Yes, Mr. Mapson, Your Honor.
Was he excited about the pregnancy?
Yes, he was very excited. And then, maybe 2 weeks later, I told him there could be someone else.
Jerome, I think it's time we talk to Mr. Mapson.
Emotions run high as Mr. Mapson reveals his bond with the baby. He's ready to do whatever it takes to raise her if he's the father. But there's a twist. Will the truth bring heartache or relief? Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson's lack of connection with the baby adds another layer of intrigue.
Mr. Anderson, have you spent time with the baby?
Well, I came up there one time,
Yeah, he came
up
one
there
time.
one time.
When I came out the hospital.
Talked to
And when
her
you
and
saw the baby, did you feel like this child could be mine?
Not really. I mean, I had them doubts. That's a child, and a child deserves to know who their parents are,
The suspense escalates as the judge seeks the real father of Michaela. Doubts arise, but Miss Whitman remains confident that one of them is the dad. Who will it be? The tension in the room is palpable. Brace yourself for the final reveal.
You agree with Mr. Anderson, Mr. Mapson? You believe there's a third?
All I know was about Mr. Anderson. I don't know nothing about nobody.
There's no one else. I was texting people. People might have come over to my house to chill, but I was not having sex with anyone else.
Hold your breath as the truth unfolds. The biggest liar is unmasked, but when the result is announced, an unexpected calm takes over. It's a stunning revelation. Mr. Mapson is the father, and he chooses to stand by Miss Whitman despite her past mistakes. True love and forgiveness prevail in this heartwarming finale.
Can I come up and shake his hand?
He'd like to shake your hand.
Get ready for some shocking revelations, folks. A mother's web of lies unravels as we dive deep into the drama at the courtroom. Can you believe she's juggling 3 possible baby daddies? The tension mounts as Miss Craig anxiously awaits the truth about her real father. Hold your breath as Mr. Thompson, clueless until now, joins the quest for paternity.
So, Miss Craig, why is today your last hope?
When I was about 5, there was a man in my life, and he was said to be my father. I can remember calling him daddy, daddy, and my auntie like, don't call him daddy anymore, because that's not your dad.
You won't believe what happens next. Mr. Thompson, the seemingly perfect father figure, hides secrets of his own. What was that about spending alone time with Miss Chanel? Ooh, the plot thickens. We're in for a roller coaster ride here, folks.
I just feel like that I want to spend time with her.
She
didn't want to spend time with me. She wanted to bring other people, and I couldn't deal with that.
You can understand.
Yeah.
That's normal.
As a child, I didn't trust him to be with him, so every time I left with him, I would bring a cousin or my sister with me. And I felt like it was my fault when he left.
Whoa, wait! This other guy has his name on the birth certificate, but isn't the real father? Mind-blowing. And he dropped this bombshell on Chanel when she turned 16. Drama alert! He should have come clean from the start.
The first man, him and my mom was talking at the time.
Now, this is the guy that was around when you were 5.
Yes, ma'am.
He came back.
He played the father role for a couple months. Everybody's like, is you sure that's not your daddy? Because I could see some features in there, but the test was already done.
Mr. Thompson's heart bears the scars of a past lie, but he's determined to find the truth this time. Will he be there for Chanel no matter what? This courtroom is sizzling with emotions. And guess what? Chanel's hearing his doubts for the first time ever.
This is the first time I'm hearing him say
what's the first time?
That he doubted. He was just telling me that he knew for a fact I was his child. I feel hurt by the whole situation. I feel like I got to suffer for their mistakes.
Chanel, that this really, it's breaking you down.
It hurt, and they don't even understand how bad it feels.
Hold on tight, viewers, as we uncover more about Chanel's struggles. Postpartum depression and the desire to be a better mom, it's heart-wrenching. Let's rally behind her as she seeks the support of her parents and the truth.
I feel like I shouldn't have to go through that with his dad, so we got the paternity test off top. His name is on the birth certificate. He know that's his child, and when my baby grow up, he not gonna have to go through what I went through. But I can't even get these two in the same room together and get along for 5 seconds. And when they go through their situations, then I'm having to choose between them.
Buckle up for the gut-wrenching truth, people. Brace yourselves, because Mr. Thompson isn't the biological father. Heart shattered and emotions sore. What's he gonna do now? Will he stay or walk away? And who's the last man standing ready for the ultimate DNA test?
Miss Craig, Mr. Thompson is not your father.
Sorry, Neil. You can give me a hug. I'm your mom and dad. Don't matter.
Get ready for an incredible twist as we uncover a shocking case of family deception. This riveting drama revolves around the possibility of a wife and a brother being the biggest liars ever seen on paternity court. These two sons are on a quest to discover their true biological father. Did their mother sleep with their father's brother? The truth's about to be revealed, and you won't want to miss a second of this intense roller coaster ride.
We were at a family gathering, having some drinks or whatever, and Uncle Ronnie, you know you my son, right? You know, so
it was basically like a family get together. It was a family function. You know how people get when they, indulge or whatnot. I guess he overindulged, and the truth came to light.
Hold on tight. Miss Shiver's life has been a tumultuous journey. She claims to have been traded from one man to another. If she's telling the truth now, why didn't she tell Eugene his father might not be his biological one? Look at his shocked expression. There's so much more to this story than meets the eye.
So right now, not even a possibility somebody else could be my father.
Miss Shivers, I want to make sure we're clear. You're now stating that you had been in a relationship before you got to Detroit, so you were in a relationship with both men in close proximity, and therefore there could be a doubt as it relates to Eugene's paternity as well.
Mr. McClellan enters the courtroom, summoned to shed light on this tangled web of deceit. Does he doubt he could be Arthur's father, despite his involvements with his wife and brother during conception? Whatever truth is about to unfold will be a painful revelation for Mr. McClellan. The suspense is killing us.
She said she slept with you and your brother. And now you may potentially be Arthur's father. Is this your understanding that you could potentially be this young man's biological father?
Yes.
The layers of lies keep unraveling. Eugene could be another man's son, and Arthur faces 3 potential fathers. With so many involved, this quest promises to be arduous. Let's hope the truth is soon uncovered, bringing clarity to these bewildered children. This riveting mystery demands resolution.
Yeah, I've never heard this story about Cool Breeze possibly being Arthur's dad. I never heard that.
I can see there's just been so much history and just herd after herd and then secrecy after secrecy, and your mother's openly saying, I was in a different space and time. I'm dating these older Whitman. I'm this young woman.
It's the moment of truth for Eugene. The results are in, and Mr. Ellis is his biological dad. Joy abounds for both. But wait, we're not done yet. Will Mr. Arthur's story have a happy ending too?
John Ellis is your father.
I knew that.
In a stunning revelation, Mr. Ellis is not only connected to Eugene, but also to Arthur. He is their father after all. Witness the elation on Arthur's face. This is the hope he desperately needed. This emotional climax will tug at your heartstrings.
John Ellis is your father.
Hey,
I would get Alice.
I needed that. You hear me?
I was getting ready to go to Puerto Rico.
Get ready for a shocking paternity court case that exposes a true liar. Meet Mr. Woody, a man desperate to uncover the truth about whether he is the biological father of Miss Wilson's son. But wait, why the sudden doubt when he initially believed he was the dad and even gave the baby his own name? Intriguing, right?
What man doesn't want to have a junior? I got plans made, I'm ready to go play baseball and basketball with them and, all the stuff a father's supposed to do with his son. So I'm just ready, so I'm ready to be a father to a boy now.
So you're already having the visions of
They here.
everything you're gonna do, baseball, basketball, first haircut.
Everything.
Picture this. Miss Wilson, not ready to become a mother, receives the unexpected news of her pregnancy. It must have been an overwhelming situation for any woman. Now, here's the twist. When she reached out to Mr. Woody, his response was downright peculiar. He claims it was his girlfriend replying. But can we trust his words? Something seems fishy.
Miss Wilson, I just want to let you know that your pregnancy test came back positive. And so I was like, just my whole world just took a standstill because I wasn't ready to have a child at all. I sent a message and I just said that I was pregnant, basically.
And did he respond right away?
No.
The girl that I was dating was responding to the messages that she was sending me.
Imagine the anxiety and loneliness Miss Wilson experienced, wondering if anyone would come to her aid during the birth. But guess who showed up? Mr. Woody. He's there for her through every painful contraction until he proudly signs the birth certificates. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions.
I was just in the hospital by myself, I was being induced and I'm trying to figure out, okay, who's gonna come, help me watch my son be born, and did nobody come? And then he came, I think, when I started having my contraction.
When it's time to sign the birth certificate, do you sign?
Yeah.
Now, the burning question. Who or what is manipulating Mr. Woody? Is it his friends? His family? Or could it be his gut feelings? It turns out it's a combination of his intuition and the whispers of others that have fueled his doubts. Mystery and suspense are in the air.
Or are you just looking at the baby and feeling like this baby doesn't look like me? Or is Miss Wilson saying to you, we got to get the DNA test?
She's always said that to me out the gate. She's always said, we need a DNA test. We're going to get it. She's said that to me out the gate. So that wasn't anything new to me.
Mr. Woody undeniably loves his son, and the feeling is mutual. He longs to be an active part of his child's life and raise him with all his heart. But how can he do so with this nagging uncertainty hanging over him? The court proceedings are about to reveal a life-altering truth that could change everything. Hold your breath.
He loves him so much. He does. He gets on, when he cries with me, I'll call Mr. Woody and instantly, when he hears his voice, he stops.
And do you call Mr. Woody his dad?
Yes.
You send me a picture about every day, new outfit, and he's mine. And I need to know.
The moment of truth arrives, and it shatters everyone's heart. The judge makes a shocking announcement. Mr. Woody is not the father. But here's the kicker. Mr. Woody still sees this child as his own. Will he choose to stay in their lives and help Miss Wilson raise the child? Or will he withdraw? Only time holds the answer to this captivating and emotional tale.
You are not his father.
What?
Get ready for a roller coaster of lies and secrets. Meet Mr. Hodges and his determined mother on a mission to expose the truth about Miss Willard. Is she the master of deception, or is there more to this saga than meets the eye? Brace yourself, because the tangled web of relationships and hidden affairs is about to unravel.
So, Mr. Hodges, explain to me why you think Ms. Willard is a liar and a cheater.
She cheated on me, and I caught her with multiple guys. She had one hidden in the room, and whenever we first got together, she said that she would never hurt me or cheat on me. She would be truthful, and yet she's lied to me left and right.
Hold your breath as we dive into Miss Willard's shocking past. Engaged to Mr. Hodges while secretly married to another man. Oh, the drama! Can you believe it? Mr. Hodges' mother might just be onto something here. Get ready to uncover the mind-boggling twists in this captivating tale.
I feel like he has been deceived and took advantage of.
What was your first impression when you met Ms. Willard? What did you think?
I thought she was sneaky. She always kept her phone on her. She never let him get a hold of it. And when she was on it and he would come around, she would hide it. I've had messages from a guy that she was seeing while she was seeing my son.
Wait, did Miss Willard really inform Mr. Hodges about her pregnancy? Oh, but here's the twist. She learned about it 6 months into it. And guess what? Another guy was at the hospital instead of Mr. Hodges. What's the motive behind this enigma? Prepare to be on the edge of your seats.
Did you ever tell this other man that he was Lillian's biological father?
No, I did not.
So why not allow the man who supposedly is her biological father to be present for the birth, or at least know she's in the world?
That was my fault on her.
Well, listen, I'm not just being hard on you, but I want to know why. Why are you lying?
Hold on tight. Why is the other man demanding a DNA test if Miss Willard is so sure he's not the father? Is she still hiding the truth? The puzzle deepens as we unveil more secrets. Multiple intimate partners and lies about the conception timeframe. Can she handle the heat when the truth comes knocking?
Do you have a reason or an understanding as to why you do tell all of the lies you tell?
You want me to be honest with you? He's married, and I just wanted a family.
It's okay. You can take your time, because I knew something was on your heart.
In this emotional journey, Miss Willard craves nothing but a loving family. But if Mr. Hodges isn't the biological father, their dreams might shatter. A heart-wrenching dilemma unfolds, with marriage and parenthood hanging in the balance. Discover how the revealed lies complicate matters even further.
Mr. Hodges and Miss Blevins, what kind of relationship have you built with Lillian thus far?
We've been keeping her. We've been seeing her since we first found out about her. Christina lets us see her, and we've had her for over a week now, spending time with her. Your Honor, I want to say I don't want no hard feelings with Christina. I just want to know if this is my grandbaby.
It's the moment of truth. Has Mr. Hodges been longing for a connection with this baby all along? Anticipation builds as the DNA results are revealed. Hold your breath as the suspense thickens. And the truth emerges. Miss Willard was telling the truth about one thing. Mr. Hodges is the father. A sigh of relief for all, especially the innocent baby.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hodges, you are the father.
I got a phone call, so I was getting married down the street from my house, so I was on my way walking down there to start the marriage to my friend.
You can't talk that fast, then turn to the side. I can't even read your lips. I felt like I was at an auction or something. I was like, what? I won't go into a class on mommy instincts. mommy instincts aren't about being jealous of your ex moving on with another woman.
This non-negotiable individual has brought her daughter-in-law to paternity court to rub her infidelity in baby mama's face. Sounds brutal, right? Well, it was. Miss Martin had a lot to say about her son's wife, and oh boy, it wasn't good.
You say she entrapped him, but she's giving him money. She's doing this for what? To what end? What does she want
She want a man of her own.
She want a man of her own.
Yes,
Miss
ma'am.
Autry, really? Why would you say that, Miss Autry?
Because you do, Miss Tramp.
Oh, see, Your Honor,
Miss
that's what I'm
Autry, come on,
saying.
let's be respectful.
The woman was persistent that baby Skyla wasn't her grandbaby, and she didn't budge from it. Moreover, she came prepared to not let this go easily till she saw the DNA results. Kudos to her.
Where I'm from, they call me Queen DNA. So until I get a DNA test to prove that's my grandbaby, I am not accepting the responsibility for no baby that's not none of mine.
But you was claiming her at first, though, Miss Autry.
All right, hold on. Let me come to you, Miss Martin, because I want to understand this. She says you entrapped her son. Did you do that?
No.
Whoa, these women have no love lost between them. Big Mama didn't believe a word coming out of her mouth and was ready to give her a piece of her mind. That's one scary grandma if the results proved to be so. Just saying.
Were you buying him cars and all these things, giving him money and all of this?
He did the same for me in return.
Okay,
He
so
didn't have no job, so he do the same for in return. He didn't have
did
no
the
job.
same.
He don't even work.
He did the same thing, Miss Autry.
No, he didn't. He don't
Yes,
even
he
have a
did.
job.
Yes, he did, Miss
No,
Autry.
he
And
didn't.
You know this.
Well,
you
how
know
he get
it.
the money? Because he ain't had no
you
job.
know it.
Miss Martin shed light on the nature of the relationship she shared with the plaintiff's son. And unsurprisingly so, these guys are still married. However, the mother-in-law went ballistic on the daughter-in-law. See for yourselves.
That's my husband.
That's your yes, your husband.
My husband.
So he's still your husband.
Get married
Yes,
to
ma'am.
you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because I got a phone call, y'all getting married down the street from my house, so I was on my way walking down there to start the marriage to my friend. That's why I was going out to go start the wedding.
She tried to stop
When
the
I
wedding,
got
Your
dropped
Honor.
off
She
down,
tried
I
to
did
stop the
move your
wedding.
way to Cliff so you can get married to him.
Oh, this Bubby was not the woman to be trifled with, for sure. She wanted to stop the wedding of her son, and he didn't invite her, fearing something like this would happen. But that didn't stop the monster-in-law. Nope.
And my friend sent me walking and she said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "To stop this wedding." So she gave me a ride and she dropped me off. So I'm up there trying to stop the wedding and they take her and to another location where they can get married.
Oh, you have to move locations because of Miss Autry?
She's crazy, Your Honor, yes.
Miss Martin ended up at the hospital. And what she believed was false labor led Miss Autry to believe that her son wasn't the father. But Miss Autry didn't stop there. She was in the hospital, and this was what happened.
What was she doing?
She was acting crazy. She was out in the hospital saying, "That ain't none of my son's baby. That ain't none of my son's baby. You lying. You lying."
Next up, we got to see the hard evidence that the plaintiff had been raving about. The whole thing blew out of proportion as the evidence was analyzed. It got to the point where it was obvious the woman was desperate to prove her claim.
She don't have the toes like my son.
Yes,
his
she
toes
does.
cross,
Yes, she
his big
does.
toe is here and his this toe next
They
to his big
overlap.
toe. It crawls over like that. And I have proof, Your Honor, that that is not his baby because her toes don't do that.
Yes, they do,
and she
Your
don't have
Honor.
the thick eyebrows as me and my son and my daughter have.
She's
so
too.
I know
They
that's
haven't
not my
grew
son's
yet.
baby.
I mean, they grew.
All right.
They don't call Miss Autry Queen DNA for nothing. She undeniably wouldn't back down that easily. However, Miss Martin came forward with a witness who ended up being Miss Autry's daughter. She testified for her sister-in-law. Did that convince Miss Autry that she's the grandma? Let's see.
So do you believe this beautiful baby, Skyla, is your niece?
She is my brother baby. I was there when she was born. That's my baby.
And you have a very close bond with her?
Yes, ma'am. Every week.
She love babies.
That's my brother baby.
I mean, if your daughter is bonded with her and your son said that's his daughter, what is your problem? That's his daughter. What is your problem?
After the other came into the picture, he also came to the court, and he came with some shocking revelations. It was just like he came and he conquered, but for all the wrong reasons. So,
Mr. Gott, how did you get a notion that this could be your child?
Because we had sex unprotected.
Did she ever tell you you are the father?
Once when we was on the phone.
When you were on the phone?
Yes.
What did she say?
She was just telling me like it's a possibility that the baby could be mine.
She could be here. Look at his eyebrows. Look at her eyebrows.
This was one crazy ride. We got to see some interesting interactions with Miss Autry, the DNA queen. However, it was time to reveal the real DNA results.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Martin.
I'll take that for 200, Your Honor. I told you.
Miss Livingston was back in the court. These second-timers just don't learn, do they? But this time, she was now demanding that her current boyfriend, Mr. Snyder, accept that her daughter was his. But he wasn't up for that, as already he'd had enough of this paternity drama.
Ms. Livingston, why are today's results so important to your relationship?
It's everything. Everything hangs in the balance. Us being a family, everything. He said he'll go back to Ohio if he's not the father. If the DNA results come back that it's not his.
You going back to Ohio, Mr. Snyder?
Yes, Your Honor. If the child's not mine, why be there for a child that's not mine?
And so the stakes are high.
Clearly, the stakes were high. But let's get to the part about how the defendants found out about the infidelity. It turns out that baby daddy went through the plaintiff's phone and came across a crude message from a random guy. And from that moment, all trust was lost.
Went through her phone and saw a message from a guy.
Really?
Yes.
What did the message say?
He wanted to meet up with her and have sex.
So you see a message, someone propositioning sex to your girlfriend?
Mm-hmm. And there was no like, I'm with a guy right now. There's like no to it. It was just, I want to have sex. Where you at?
Uh-oh. A few other messages are revealed in the court. And this time, the guy submitted the hard evidence of the message to back up his claim. The messages, on the other hand, are just gross.
You see a message that says, wanted to ask if I could do you doggy style. Oh.
Yep.
And then you see this message after that. What hotel you staying at? Ms. Livingston, I'm staying at the blank inn.
Why are you gonna tell him where exactly you're at?
Mommy claimed that she never went through with that proposition from her ex, but the defendant didn't buy this story. Who would after all they'd been through? You know, when doubt first sets in, there's no going back.
When he asked me if I was alone, I told him no, that my boyfriend would be there.
But there's no boyfriend or girlfriend on the planet Earth that wants to know that their partner's ex is sending them this kind of message.
I told him that he sends me those kind of messages all the time.
Soon after this, you find out Miss Livingston is pregnant.
According to Mr. Snyder, he and Miss Livingston got into a fight after learning about the pregnancy, after which his girlfriend disappeared with no clue. However, the plaintiff presented a different version of this story.
I did not break up with him, first of all. I was staying with a friend the night before, and I had lost my phone at that friend's house. She took me back to my apartment after I sat waiting for him because he told me I'll be there, and I'm sitting there in the freezing rain waiting on him. He never shows up, so that friend shows up to take me back to my apartment. I still did not have my phone.
Shockingly, the plaintiff was left in the cold rain stranded while her man never showed up. Brutal, right? Fortunately, she had a friend with her who took her in and broke up with the worst excuse for a boyfriend. And another set of confusion started rolling in.
I didn't even know until the 3 months later when I finally got a phone. And he told me, well, I'm with somebody else now. And I was like, you're cheating on me? And he's like, no, you broke up with me. So I found somebody new.
Even if she sends the text message pretending it's you and he gets it, why is it you don't ever call him?
Because I didn't have a phone until I got back to my mom and she was able to get me. I moved home.
Now the question was how these guys reconnected after that debacle. Well, the mama contacted him through Facebook. The guy again had physical evidence of that text exchange, which didn't paint the mommy in a good color.
I said, I was like, well, I've cheated on you. You may be the father, you may not. You'll never know.
I have evidence on that.
Ms. Livingston says, besides, I slept with someone else, maybe she isn't yours. And you say, figured. And Ms. Livingston says, you will never know. And then you write back, then don't put my blank on that birth certificate. And then Ms. Livingston, you say, I'm not.
After stating that she pulled those stupid tricks out of hurt and anger, as her guy was with someone else now, she further claimed that her mommy instincts kicked in and fueled the hurt more. Judge Lake schooled the woman on real mommy instincts.
I didn't want somebody else trying to play house and play mommy with my baby.
Okay, I won't go into a class on mommy instincts. Mommy instincts aren't about being jealous of your ex moving on with another woman. Mommy instincts are about making sure your child is taken care of and knows their father.
Despite the defendant having doubts, Miss Livingston is convinced he was the father and showed pictures highlighting the resemblance they both share. But we know resemblance isn't considered hard evidence in this court.
She's a little girl, and I wanted a little girl.
She looks just like him. I'm sorry, but she looks just like him. We have other pictures that show that she looks just like him. She has his ear. He has an ear that has a bent down in there, and it looks like a little elf ear. It's pointed. She's got the same ear on the same side.
It's a baby face.
And she's got the nasally stuff that he's got going on.
She
when
can
he
look like
sleeps.
anyone.
Their whole relationship was riding on the paternity results of baby Emma Lynn, and it was time for Judge Lake to open that envelope and present us with the truth.
Mr. Snyder, you are the father. You are the father.
Good. I don't gotta book a ticket tomorrow.
You don't have to book a ticket now?
No, you don't have to.
Sleeping with your own sister-in-law? Just preposterous, ain't it? But wait, there's more, as Mr. Griffin claimed the child he had with the defendant, Miss Richmond. But Miss Richmond refused this, and both were here for some answers regarding this paternity doubt.
How long did this mistake
It lasted, I'd say, about 2 years.
2 years?
About a year. I know a year.
This wasn't no mistake, this was a decision. Exactly. So for 2 years, you were sleeping with your wife's sister?
Yes.
Regularly?
Yes. Often, very often.
Following this disaster, we got to know that the plaintiff had been married for a decade, and Miss Richmond, being young and stupid at the time, gave another name to what they both did behind her sister's and his wife's back. Is it just me, or are you also getting uncomfortable with this?
So you all had known each other for an extended amount of time. Oh, this is all in the family.
All in the family, Your Honor. I was in love, so I thought what I thought was love back in that time. I think that's why I chose to tell him first for anyone else that he was the father. We slept together more unprotected than I did with the others.
30 years forward, Mr. Griffin still believed Tykia to be his daughter, while the defendant admitted telling him of her pregnancy at that time. However, exclusivity meant nothing to the both of them.
So you were admitting that during the window of conception, you were also sleeping with 2 other men?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you tell those men you were pregnant as well?
No, Your Honor, no.
Why did you only choose to tell Mr. Griffin?
Mr. Griffin was the one I was with mostly all the time. Mostly.
Right.
So that's
and so
why
you know it only
assumed
takes
was
once
it.
though, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You would think they'd be honest moving forward after the plaintiff got Miss Richmond pregnant. Nope. They both went their separate ways and never heard from each other again until now.
So, Mr. Griffin, how did you tell your wife that you got her sister pregnant?
I didn't, because I was too embarrassed to tell her, I did that.
So, Tykia, I want to hear from you, because I want to understand, at what point did you find out?
Like the first time someone brought his name up was like, my mom never brought his name up.
In all this ruckus created by these two, it was Tykia who suffered the consequences. She grew up without a father, and Mommy Dearest never even mentioned his name. But Miss Tykia did end up hearing about the baby daddy.
I got a message on MySpace. Do you remember MySpace?
I sure do. I wasn't on it, but I remember it.
I got a message on MySpace from Lakeisha. Just a long little thing saying, I think you're my sister. And I'm just like who is this girl? So
and wait, so when you first got the message, were you overwhelmed with emotion, or did you feel like it was a prank?
Sister Lakeisha ended up in the mix. She told how she got to know that she had another sister named Tykia. However, she also revealed she had heard of her from someone in the past before.
And I see some mail from Jackson County Child Support, and I began to look at it, and I've seen her name, Tykia's name.
Had you ever been told about Tykia?
Yes.
Who told you about her?
My mother. She just kind of mentioned that we had another sister, but I didn't know what her name was.
Tykia's mommy didn't believe the plaintiff to be the father, yet he ended up with child support on the papers. It turns out years ago they had done a paternity test already, but the results just added to the confusion.
Mr. Griffin, do you remember submitting to this DNA testing years ago?
I do, and from my knowledge, that I got the paper saying I was the father.
You got the papers and they said that you were the father.
Yes.
So you're saying you got paperwork that says you were the father,
yeah.
And Ms. Richmond, you got paperwork that says he was not.
According to a young woman looking for her father, there was a record of them taking the paternity test, but there was no record of Mr. Griffin. The plot thickened further as Mr. Griffin remained firm that he took the test.
Yes.
Wow, this is complicated.
All I know is I believe the other people better than believe in them. When I called them, they said that they do not have a test. They said that
From him.
we took ours, but he did not show up to take his. That's what they said.
This crazy family drama continued for 30 plus years. I guess it's time to put an end to it, and the only way to do that would be to have a look at the contents of that good old envelope. So, right to it.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Griffin, you are not her father.
You guys wanted everything to be Cody,
We're not lying about
him. I don't need to lie.
I haven't gotten one out either.
Don't sit here and tell me that you guys cared about me because you didn't.
You left the state.
Arkansas. We didn't even know where you were.
Thank you!
You in trouble.
Miss
Child support, baby.
Thank you! Miss Jackson, calm down.
I went through 3 months and they keep on putting all this messages away, and I told you.
Seeking answers about her paternity, the court session of Miss Qinglong started with her making allegations against her mother for sleeping with multiple men, whom she could not keep track of, with one of the potential fathers losing his life in a fire. However, today, the plaintiff was determined to find out what actually went down.
My mother is absolutely to blame. I was born to the most irresponsible, selfish, immature person in the world. She already had a 3-year-old when I was born in the same situation, not knowing who her father was as well. So my mother should have known better, not to be sleeping with multiple people at the same time.
Well, there was resentment buildup in the Autumn's heart, and probably the mother didn't bother to cater to it in time. Now Mrs. Barabay is in front of Judge Lake, and she's got some explaining to do. This is how she starts.
I bring her over there all the time to see him. He got in a relationship with a really bad person. I got married to a very controlling man. My ex-husband moved me 1,700 miles to Arkansas.
But it was, they fought all the time, and it was always her fault.
I moved back over there to California so she could have a relationship with James.
She depended on her ex-husband.
Passed away.
The daughter wasn't letting the mother get away so easily. Her outburst towards the mother was just an insight into what the poor plaintiff had been through her whole life. Poor thing had been playing mom to her other siblings because her mother was too busy partying.
She would leave me alone to babysit them. So either she could go to the casino, so she could gamble anywhere,
That's not true.
That is true.
That's
She
not
knows
true.
it's true.
She's not remember she.
And then there were so many times where her and my stepdad fought back and forth.
This is not true because I've always been a loving mother to her. I've always been the best friend. I've always told her the truth.
And if you think that was too much, buckle up, because there was more incoming. As after those relations, the late potential father's family stepped into the court to spill the tea about how Miss Barabay's pregnancy brain at the time of birth could make up her mind regarding paternity.
I didn't see the baby until she was about 2 months old. Valerie, it is true, and you know it.
I never called them.
Then how did we know you
I didn't even have their number. He moved around everywhere with Sherry. I'm owning up. I'm here.
James you're here. It's good. You need a wake-up call.
No, I wanted to do this years ago.
You need a wake-up call.
No,
you finally face the truth.
The whole thing.
Okay, let's get some order in the court.
The mother was on a streak of not owning anything. She was persistent in her claims. We might think this was a gang-up on Miss Barabay, or they were all spitting facts. Indeed, we're gonna find out as this session proceeds.
Why did you think you weren't allowed to come?
She told me we weren't allowed to be at the hunt. She wouldn't tell us.
No, because I didn't talk to nobody.
She didn't want us there because
you can ask my parents. They're not here as witnesses. My parents were at the hospital. This is not true.
Was your ex at the hospital?
No, he was.
The man that she put the name on the birth certificate. The guy she lived with when she got pregnant.
Oh boy. Huh. Her boyfriend is on the birth certificate, not the alleged father. Okay, we might be developing a conclusion, but hold your thoughts right there. Miss Qinglong alleged the uncle said something to the court that switched Miss Barabay into yelling mode. Oh, no, that's funny.
You guys wanted everything to be Cody,
We're not lying about it.
I don't need to lie.
I haven't gotten one out either.
Until after my brother's death, and it became a social security
why didn't you contact me to tell me he died? 2 years passed. Did you guys call me to tell me he died? I love that man. Don't sit here and tell me that you guys cared about me because you didn't.
You left the state.
You were in Arkansas. We didn't even know where you were.
Well, all that yelling's not gonna solve anything, and it's not gonna change the fact that Miss Qinglong was raised without a father. And this drama was not helping at all. But don't worry, Judge Lake knows how to stay on the theme. She called for that good old DNA envelope to solve this years-old mother-daughter feud.
In the case of Autumn Qinglong, Mrs. Qinglong, James Audis was your father.
I have a dare for you to get your kids.
You might think twice before sleeping with your best friend's son, but not this baby mama, as she not only slept with the plaintiff's son, but she also used no protection. With grandma and daddy in denial, this surely is gonna be one bumpy ride.
Mr. Chaplin?
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
stand here with your mother. How positive that you are not the father?
I'm absolutely sure I'm not the father. 100%
Explain.
positive, because during the time that I knew her, we never was in a relationship. We was only friends throughout the entire time. Also, throughout the entire time, I've known her to talk to several other men.
What a shame. Was he the only man left in town? Even then, you gotta think before making such a move, lady. However, it seemed that Miss Jackson was ready to explain how she messed up. Damn, that confidence.
You admittedly slept with your best friend's son.
We was not best friends, Your Honor. We was only friends. It doesn't matter. Her son is grown.
So the point is you decided that it was okay to sleep with your friend's son.
Me and her son
I'm
was
from the old
friends.
school. I'm 48 years
Girl,
old.
and you
where
dang
I
13
come
years
from,
older
and
than
any
me,
other
honey.
woman my age,
You're 13
I
years
don't
older
care
than
if
me,
he's
honey.
a fit or not.
Well, Miss Jackson, downgrading the status of your friendship isn't gonna justify anything. Now, if you've done it, just show some respect. Being hurt and feeling betrayed by your friend, Miss Robinson vents out her emotions, spitting facts, and she's on a slaying streak.
She was a young girl out here that needed some help with 5 kids, ma'am. And I done been through what she been through, so my payment back was to sleep with my son.
You befriend her once you met her.
Yes.
And you all started what? You
Going to the school dances, I got pictures of that. They need to put it up there. I fed them, I put them in my house.
Is that a testimony or a rap? Well, whatever. It was crystal clear that Miss Robinson wouldn't accept anything so soon, and that woman has been through her struggle. The defendant, having Van Gogh's ear for music, continues to irritate the mother.
We got close. We was like brother, sister, and we had sex. Every day, non-stop.
Wait a minute, hold on. Miss Jackson, that sounds nasty. Now, you said you all were like brother and sister?
We was friends. We was close like brother and sister. We was friends. Every time you see him, me and him hanging out together.
We was hanging together, Your Honor.
What did we just hear? Oh man, that's one nasty drama. But wait, Judge Lake has her concerns. As ironic as it may sound, maybe she's worried about her son. However, Mr. Chaplin begins to explain the background.
How do you sleep with your mom's friend? How does that happen?
Well, because like I said, when I came down, I was definitely going through something at the time, and she just befriended me. Like, she was being real nice to me.
And you knew this was your mother's friend. You were introduced like, this is my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then you say she befriended you?
Yes, ma'am.
From brother and sister to friends with benefits. Come on, where are your morals, people? But wait, what's this the mama has to tell the judge? It's something about being in the real world. Let's see if it lands well.
The bottom line is I knew she was with all these guys because I'm telling you, lady, Judge, you ain't in the real world.
Girl, you
the
got
real
your
world
own
is
problem.
this
You
girl.
worry about it.
I'm just upset at fact I knew that she trapped.
It
By the
doesn't
time
matter.
I figured it out, it had to
Honey,
been too late.
Your son is grown.
It doesn't matter. And my son got there on a Sunday.
Among all the drama and trouble, Miss Jackson was looking like one peculiar fellow. This was due to the enthusiasm shown by the big boy's mother, whereas Judge Lake was doing a good job keeping peace in the courtroom. To give all the doubts the blow they needed, she decides to read the results.
Mr. Chaplin, you are the father.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You in
Thank
trouble.
you.
You
Miss
got
Child
that
support,
boy, you ain't
baby.
never-
Thank you.
Miss Jackson,
Thank
calm
you.
down. Calm down.
Thank you. Man, I'm just like, I went through 3 months and they keep on putting all this mess in his way, and I told you.
In this paternity limbo, Miss Crow faces her deceased lover's mother, who denied that her son could have possibly fathered a 2-year-old child. Isn't this a paternity classic? Anyway, whether the baby mama is seeking death benefits or not, only time will tell.
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow up and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father is and to know who his family is. I would talk on the phone every day with Jay, and I would put him on speakerphone so his son could hear his voice.
Now that's what you call putting on a brave face. Baby mama stood persistent on her claim. But like there can't be a paternity issue without unusual claims and drama, potential grandma had to fill in for that position. Look what she has to say about her doubts.
In the time period, the time frame she said she was, when she told me she was pregnant, it didn't happen that way. There's no way she could have been just 2 weeks pregnant and had a stomach firm as she did.
You're saying she couldn't have a stomach as firm?
After 2 weeks, you don't have a stomach as firm as that.
Well, that's about right. Talking about firmness, Miss Reinhardt sounded like someone who works at a pie factory. However, just a reminder to the old lady that today she's standing at paternity court, and she's got to do better than that. But never mind. baby mama does have some more explaining to do.
There's no doubt in my mind that Jay's the father. I did not sleep with anybody else in that time. When I was with him, to me, there's no other option. Once I told him about it, he was happy. He was happy to have a child. He never denied my son, and if he was here today, we wouldn't have to be here because he would willingly do so.
But wait, Miss Reinhardt wasn't buying anything at all. Pretending to know all about her deceased son, she has her perspectives on his relationship with women and wasn't going to stop unless she was proven she was right in the courtroom. Here is another concern.
No, that was what you guys did. I went to the skate park where I met him. You can have all the proof you want to make your
You was there for 2 hours with his best friend.
I didn't want to go and be around you. You see how you act?
So you're saying, Ms. Crow, you purposely did not go to the memorial service because you didn't want to have an encounter, a negative encounter or altercation?
Right.
Miss Reinhardt taking a step further and calling her son schizophrenic. If that serves some kind of purpose, then why not, right? However, she's got one more claim to set on the floor and give an extension to her testimony of her son not being the father.
I asked her if she took a pregnancy test, Your Honor. She told me no. I said, you didn't take a pregnancy test. How do you know you're pregnant? I know my body. I know
Well,
what it
first of
feels
all,
like.
your hormone levels
Feel
have to build up to even pass a pregnancy test.
Ooh, did you just learn this?
No, I've been knew this. The truth will set you free. You know, maybe you'll learn if you actually tell the truth.
Right, okay.
But the plaintiff had everything pinned down to the last detail. She had the baby daddy protected regardless of knowing that he was having issues. She told the court how the baby daddy reacted after the child was born, and that might surprise you.
Did JC accept the baby as his own?
He told everybody that we would come across, friends, even people we didn't know. He had conversations with, she's pregnant with my baby. He's really happy, he's excited. He never denied my child. You know, he's the father because I haven't been with anybody else. I was only with him.
Talk about stating facts. But the claims and allegations don't prove anything when it comes to the courtroom. And now, only one thing was left to clarify: who's been right and who's been wrong all along. I think we all know what this means. It's time to get that good old DNA envelope in here.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow is 99.6% you are related.
In her quest to find out who's her biological father, Miss Robinson is back in paternity court with the same dilemma again. Just so you know, she's doing it for the second time with her mother. Being a victim of paternity fraud, let's see if she gets lucky this time. Here's how the session started.
Your Honor, I feel that my mother has been committing paternity fraud my whole life. I've never got a straight answer on who my father is. It was one or two guys, 2 or 3 guys.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that's a lie. I've always told her who her father was.
No, you haven't.
I've always, and I never kept any secrets from you.
Well, the mother stood persistent in her claim that Mr. Long is the father, as she was also proven right last time. What do you think's gonna happen this time? Although before we go there, let's have a quick look at how things went back then.
I've always told her who her dad was. It's not Mr. Moore.
Mr. Moore, you are not her father.
Oh my God. Then who is my daddy? I can tell you, he ain't your dad. But no, I'm lying. So let's go get the other one and come right back here and do this again.
Calling her mother a liar and a manipulator. The plaintiff had all the right reasons in her mind for not believing her mother. She also said it was just mere luck she was proven right last time. But wait, there's more she has to say this time.
Me in school, doing sports, basketball, softball, volleyball. Never nobody showing up to my game. Sitting there, all my friends got parents there, I have nobody. I had a baby at 18 and one at 20. It has not been a day that I have not been there for my children, 1,000%, not 100. And I know who their fathers is because I wasn't promiscuous.
Well, the mother-daughter feud has gotten the court on its toes, and there wasn't a clear justification from either side. It was a big chunk of emotional drama and gaslighting stress. So Judge Lauren decided to shed some light on Mr. Long's testimony.
Mr. Long, do you remember Miss Harms bringing Miss Robinson to see you and saying this is your father? Have you ever seen Miss Robinson?
No, ma'am.
She says that she came to see me, but I don't recall that.
Did you think you were her biological father?
It was possible because, you know, it was said, and then she sent a picture to my mom of him.
After all these years of built-up resentment, the only thing that was left to clear the doubts and end the quest for Miss Robinson was the DNA envelope. And we all know how Judge Lake is always an expert in reading those.
Mr. Long, you are her father.
I told you I'm sorry. I told you I love you so much.
Why are you feeling emotional, Ms. Hanger? What are you feeling?
That my daughter has to go without her father because I went through that.
Mr. Porvecchio and Ms. Lutz are siblings.
Thank you. Keep up the lies, Ricky. Keep them up. You ruined our relationship with your lies. You're done, Ricky. Thank you very much, Dawn.
Tensions escalate as Mr. Porvecchio accuses Miss Touche and Miss Lutz of deceitfully receiving $150,000 in settlement money from his late father's tragic death. He firmly believes that Miss Lutz is not his biological sister, and he's determined to expose the alleged cover-up. Meanwhile, Miss Touche seeks to end the decades-long feud fueled by rumors and lies.
My father was on a tugboat working and he drowned. Accidental death is what it's said on his death certificate.
That's what it was declared.
That's what it was.
It's declared as accidental death, drowned.
So let me understand. Your father at the time was married to
my mom.
Me.
Miss Touche passionately defends her family against Mr. Porvecchio's accusations, revealing her parents were separated at the time of his father's death. A compelling twist unfolds as Mr. Porvecchio presents his aunt as a witness. The truth unravels, leaving Miss Lutz stunned by the shocking revelations. The audience is captivated, awaiting the riveting conclusion in this paternity court battle.
My mom and my dad were separated, right, when he died.
And just living apart. There was no legality
They
to
were
it
not
at all.
divorced, and my dad never said I was not his daughter.
Okay, Mr. Porvecchio, you brought a couple of witnesses. I want to get to the first witness, Ms. Cortez.
Yes, she never denied me either. This is the first I'm hearing about this a few weeks ago.
Emotions run high as Miss Lutz tearfully shares her heartache and confusion over the family's rejection after her father's death. She passionately defends her identity as Ricky's daughter, expressing hurt over doubts raised. The courtroom brims with raw emotions, and the complexity over this family feud unfolds before Judge Lake.
I loved Ricky with all my heart, and the fact that he would even question me and him being brother and sister kills me because I look just like my daddy. If anybody looks like my daddy, I look just like my daddy. I have a lot of anger for the Porvecchios, my daddy's side of the family, because when my daddy passed away, they passed away.
Miss Lutz uncovers doubts her late father had, fueled by the Porvecchio family rumors. Miss Touche confirms his love for her despite uncertainty. Accusations fly over greed and money. Judge Lake delves deeper, seeking to understand the roots of doubt and any potential involvement of others. The courtroom remains on edge as the mystery unfolds.
There was doubt from my father, thinking that Taurine was actually for him. But he did love Laurie.
Of course he did. He married her and had 2 children with her. The rumors came from the Porvecchio family, and the only reason there's any question about any money is because they thought they can get their greedy little hands on it after my daddy passed.
Anything about anything.
Oh, really?
In a heart-wrenching outpouring, Miss Lutz defends her love for her late father and the pain of growing up without him. Memories and belongings taken away deepen the family divide. Amidst the heated exchange, Miss Cortez supports their once close bond. Shocked and hurt, Miss Lutz expresses disbelief at never being aware of paternity doubts.
He loved his kid.
Like you care. He loved his children.
Yes, he did.
I love
his daughter.
And I grew up without a dad, and that was hard enough. And then when I grew up without his memories, his childhood, I didn't have that because they took that from me. All of his belongings.
Your mother took that
and
from
didn't give them back to me. Didn't let me have anything from my dad.
The courtroom erupts in chaos as years of lies unravel. Anger and heartbreak fill the air as family bonds are shattered. Miss Touche blames the interference for ruining their relationship, while Mr. Porvecchio simply wanted the truth. The once close-knit family is torn apart, forever changed by the revelations.
Mr. Porvecchio and Ms. Lutz are siblings.
Thank you. Keep up the lies, Ricky. Keep them up. You ruined our relationship with your lies. You're done, Ricky.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
You the one that wanted this.
No, I wanted it to show you. I wanted to show you we never had this problem until they got in the middle of us.
Mr. Williams brings Miss Annette Smith to court, accusing her of scamming him for child support on her 22-year-old daughter, Clarissa. He vehemently denies being the father, claiming they used condoms at all times. The tension arises as they prepare to reveal the shocking truth and dispute over a staggering $36,742.43 in child support arrears.
Mr. Harrelson, you admit to having a one-night stand with a defendant whose name you didn't even know 19 years ago. You claim you are the victim of paternity fraud, and now you are more than $20,000 in debt for a child you don't believe is yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams shares the shocking moment he discovered he was on child support while doing labor-ready work. His hard-earned $80 turned into a measly $7 a day because of child support deductions. He couldn't believe it and decided to find other ways to make a living. But fate had different plans, as a car accident changed everything.
We had just moved to Detroit, and my sister, she had moved in with a friend. So we went over there. We were sitting, drinking, and talking. We went upstairs and had sex, and that's what it was. That's what it was.
So it really was a brief encounter?
Yes.
And Mr. Harrelson,
Everybody
you
split
say
away.
you didn't even know her name.
Nah.
He knew my name.
Hold on, things are heating up. Miss Smith recalls how she tried to get a DNA test, but Mr. Williams refused. Oh, and let's not forget the drama when she went to California to find him. But he's not holding back either, accusing her of sending court papers to the wrong address, causing chaos in his family's life. This paternity court battle is getting wild.
People were standing, he been upstairs for, I don't know how long he been living upstairs from the people downstairs. They knew his name.
And so when she went down and followed this process, at the point she gave your name and address, there should have been a letter or summons sent for a DNA test. You never got that?
No, I didn't. I wasn't in the States. I was gone.
Ooh, the plot thickens. Miss Smith is defending herself, claiming she never scammed him since they were in a relationship. But Mr. Williams has some questions about those missing condoms, and the audience can't help but laugh at the unexpected twist. Hold on tight. This paternity court case is getting juicier by the second.
I think this is an important time.
It is.
As we begin to talk about all of the things that were happening. All this time you were growing up without a dad. And what was life like growing up without your dad? So much so that when you walked in here, you couldn't even look at him.
At the end of the day, there's nobody like your real dad.
Judge Lake brings out a picture of Mr. Williams and Miss Smith together with their daughter Clarissa in California, looking like a happy couple. But Mr. Williams still insists he's not the father. The tension rises as he claims the child doesn't look like him, and he hasn't seen her since '98. Can Miss Smith prove he's the dad?
So Mr. Harrelson, when you get that message and you see it's Talia and she's saying, I think you're my dad, you ask her, is this your mother?
Yes. Well, basically, I'm just making sure she
But how can
is
you
who
ask
she
her
is.
daddy? He didn't know my name, so how can you ask her that? Is your mama this and you ain't know my name? And we ain't never spoke.
This is what, three years ago?
The emotions reach a boiling point as Judge Lake confronts Mr. Williams about the impact of his absence on his daughter Clarissa. The young girl expresses her longing for a father figure in her life, while Mr. Williams still questions his paternity. But Judge Lake lays down the truth. Regardless of biology, Clarissa believes he's her dad.
And I think it's time we get the truth. Mr. Harrelson, you are the father. We found your father, Talia. We did it, honey. You made it.
The truth is out, and the emotions run high as the court declares Mr. Williams as Clarissa's father. Tears flow as Clarissa, overcome with joy, finds the closure she's been yearning for. Mr. Williams finally accepts his role as a father, regretful for the lost years. Judge Lake's powerful words remind him of the irreplaceable time he missed with his daughter.
And I want to ask you something, because when you came in the courtroom, you said you couldn't look at him. Can you look at him for the first time? Oh, honey.
You can cry too.
And so can you look at your daughter? Can you look at your little girl? She's been through a lot to get to this point, Dad.
In this intense courtroom battle, Miss Hanger accuses the defendant of neglecting her daughter, while Mr. Babbitt adamantly denies being the father. Is her accusation true, or is she just going crazy for child support? Miss Hanger insists on undeniable proof, but Mr. Babbitt remains unyielding, leading to a gripping confrontation filled with twists and turns.
Ms. Hanger, you claim the defendant has already been placed on child support for your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've dragged him to court to order he pay the support he has been neglecting. Mr. Babbitt, you petitioned the court to order a DNA test because you are 100% certain that you are not her child's father.
Yes.
Amidst the mounting tension, Judge Lake dives deeper into the conflicting claims. Ms. Hanger accuses Mr. Babbitt of disregarding court documents, which he deems fraudulent. The judge seeks to unravel this web of deceit, questioning the authenticity of the service. Ms. Hanger and Mr. Babbitt's past encounter is brought to light, leaving everyone on the edge of their seats.
Ms. Hanger, I want to understand what he's saying because I want to understand how a grown man gets paperwork from a court that he doesn't honor. You felt like it was like something fraudulent?
Well, yeah, if I would have got a letter that had it like postmarking on it, that went through the mail, that would have made me feel a whole lot better about it, but I didn't.
As tensions flare in the courtroom, Judge Lake lays down the law, reprimanding Mr. Babbitt for his absence. With sharp words and a firm hand, she makes it clear that this is a serious matter concerning the future of a child. The atmosphere electrifies as everyone awaits the next revelation. The stakes are high, and the truth hangs in the balance.
You look confused, period, and you look like you got a smart mouth, and you think you know too much, but what you should have known was to bring your butt to court. Then you wouldn't be here.
Thank you.
Now you can get smart with me if you want to. Let me tell you something, Mr. Babbitt. Let me tell you something, Mr. Babbitt. You can get smart with me if you want to. You're gonna lose every day of this week.
On to Miss Hanger's relationships. Mr. Babbitt alleges she was involved with another roommate, leading to jealousy and inappropriate comments. The atmosphere intensifies as the truth unfolds, leaving everyone stunned and eager for more answers. The fate of Chloe's paternity hangs in the balance, and the tension keeps the audience on the edge of their seats.
Do you think at the time she was sleeping with you that she was also sleeping with someone else?
Yeah, the other roommate. Yeah, because he was super jealous when I first showed up there. I was gonna tell me about
What made
this.
you believe he was sleeping with her?
He made a comment about how when she gets mad, walked around looking like a bulldog, and then the other statement.
I don't know how exactly you can even.
As the truth continues to unfold, Mr. Babbitt recounts a tense doctor's appointment challenging the pregnancy's validity. Conflicting narratives heighten the mystery, leaving the audience guessing about Chloe's true paternity. With allegations of deception and confusion surrounding the ultrasound, the court's decision becomes even more critical. The drama keeps everyone captivated, eagerly awaiting the final verdict.
So at this point, you're not believing, Mr.
Right, because
Babbitt,
that could
that
be
she's
medically
really
helpful.
even pregnant, or you're not believing that the baby is yours?
I didn't even believe she was pregnant. I went to the doctor's appointment with her to get the ultrasound done. We're sitting there, they're doing this ultrasound, and the nurse is sitting there, okay, we're gonna find that heartbeat. And then the nurse is kind of going over her stomach.
It wasn't an ultrasound, it was a fetal Doppler. Two different things.
Amid emotional turmoil, Miss Hanger worries about her daughter Chloe growing up fatherless, recalling her own experience. Roy Babbitt, Chloe's grandfather, stands beside the plaintiff, confident that Chloe is his granddaughter. He presents baby pictures, revealing the striking resemblance between Chloe and Royce, adding to the mystery. The court anticipates the decisive paternity test results.
This is a picture of
my baby picture.
Of your baby picture on the
Correct.
left, and Chloe's baby picture on the right.
Plus, Chloe has so many tendencies, looks, and mannerisms as Royce does.
My daughter has to go without her father because I went through that.
The truth emerges, and the crowd applauds as Royce Babbitt is declared Chloe's father. Despite the past denial, Royce now embraces his role. An apology is sought, but the court emphasizes that the focus should be on learning a vital lesson about being responsible when engaging in unprotected activities. The paternity test results have brought clarity to the situation.
Mr. Royce Babbitt, you are her father.
Luke does.
All I want is an apology for her.
I don't owe you any apology.
You owe me an apology for denying her. I've told you from day one.
Yeah, it's my child now, but it wasn't then. I mean, I could
It was
Been her
too
child
then.
since conception.
Is Mr. Connor really a victim, or is Miss Wallace going crazy for child support only? A one-time fling with the defendant morphed into over 15 years of child support payments, but he's always doubted he's the father. Today's results could break free from the injustice, as Miss Wallace and her husband claim the truth lies within.
Mr. Connor, you say a one-time fling with the defendant turned into more than 15 years of child support payments and even jail time for a child you have never believed is yours. You need today's results to prove you are not her child's father.
Mr. Connor vehemently denies completing the act, while Miss Wallace insists on their year-long relationship with numerous intimate encounters. She recalls the moment she discovered her pregnancy and claims she informed him. Mr. Connor refutes the claim, dismissing it as a lie.
What do you remember, Ms. Wallace?
I remember him and I being in a whole year relationship, and we had sex numerous of times, Your Honor. And he did know I got sick. My mom taking me to my doctor's appointment, and that's when I found out. I called you and I told you. Back then we had paid. You a lie.
The courtroom transforms into a battlefield of accusations as Miss Wallace and Mr. Connor lock horns. Their memories clash, leaving the audience gasping. Miss Wallace stands her ground, demanding child support without a relationship. The court clarifies the default judgment when Mr. Connor failed to appear. Emotions run high as they await the judge's verdict.
I told him I did not want to be in a relationship with him.
You're a professional liar.
You know what? I'm not going to even, disrespect you because I'm a woman.
That's not disrespect. You committed a crime.
Like I said, Your Honor, this man, he wanted to be with me, and I did not want to be with him.
And I understand how that happens, trust me.
Mr. Connor recalls Jeffrey's visit, unsure of the details. His wife's testimony sheds light on the past, confirming Jeffrey's presence in their home at age 10. She reveals Mr. Connor had already shared the story of Wanda's claim, attempting to have sex with her. Despite already paying child support, they lost contact with Jeffrey until he returned at around 15.
When Jeffrey was 10, we came home one day to the house and he was sitting on the couch and I just asked Jewett, who is that? And he said, that's Jeffrey, and I already knew the situation. He had already told me.
What had he told you?
Basically that Wanda put a baby on him. He attempted to have sex with her.
When Jeffrey was 10, was your husband paying child support for Jeffrey?
Yes.
The court confirms that Mr. Connor is not Jeffrey's father, causing an uproar in the audience. Mr. Connor, feeling deceived, insists he knew all along. The judge acknowledges his frustration, but turns her attention to Jeffrey, who admits feeling uncertain due to his mother's adamant claims. Emotions run high as the truth finally surfaces, leaving Jeffrey in distress.
Mr. Connor, you are not the father.
I already knew it. She committed a crime. She set me up. I knew this all the time.
I understand you are frustrated, and I understand you have been through a lot. The threesome's bad enough. Unprotected is just outrageous, unacceptable.
A lot of stuff was kept from me.
We'll get it. You piecing it together.
Yeah,
you just piecing it together.
Yeah, best as I can.
Miss Harris.
I don't want to be on the camera no more, no.
In a riveting paternity court case, Miss Harris finds herself entangled in a love triangle as two men, Mr. Murray and Mr. Donaldson, claim to be the father of her 18-month-old daughter, Anaya. With emotions running high, Judge Lake digs into the truth behind the paternity claims. Get ready for an intense courtroom showdown as the wild moments unfold.
Ms. Harris, you have been caught in a love triangle. There are two men in court today claiming to have fathered your 18-month-old daughter, Anaya. So, Ms. Harris, now you're currently in a relationship with Mr. Murray.
Yes.
Miss Harris faces a love triangle involving two men, Mr. Murray and Mr. Donaldson, both claiming to be the father of her 18-month-old daughter, Anaya. The courtroom brims with curiosity as Mr. Donaldson shares his early suspicions of the pregnancy and his initial acceptance of being the father. However, the key lies in his involvement during Miss Harris's pregnancy.
I hadn't seen her in so long. It wasn't even no point in getting a pregnancy test.
Because you could tell then she is pregnant.
Yeah.
Did you accept at that time that you were the father of the baby?
Yes, I did.
You did. You acknowledged it and you accepted it.
Yes, I did.
Were you active in the doctor's appointments? Did you go to those?
No.
As the tension escalates, Anaya's grandparents reveal their initial acceptance of her, but became wary due to the complicated situation. Doubts about Anaya's paternity arise when they encounter Fred. Meanwhile, Mr. Murray receives a shocking message from Mr. Donaldson, suggesting the possibility of him being the father.
At what point do you start having doubts that Anaya is your grandchild?
The thing that really changed my mind is when my mother went to pick the baby up and saw Fred.
Why do you believe you could be the biological father of this child?
One day I was on Facebook and I got a message. He told me that the baby could possibly be mine.
As the wild revelations continue, it becomes clear that the situation has escalated to an alarming degree. Miss Weaver expresses her deep concern about her son's reckless behavior, having threesomes unprotected, leading to the possibility of getting Miss Harris pregnant. The truth behind Anaya's paternity intertwines with the complexity of their relationships, leaving everyone on the edge of their seats.
We had a situation December 14th.
What's a situation?
Threesome.
I didn't expect you to say that. And you didn't use protection during that? We know young people and we know you're gonna be young, but this is a lot. This is too much. The threesome's bad enough. Unprotected is just outrageous, unacceptable.
As the truth unfolds, the emotional roller coaster intensifies. Mr. Donaldson moved away, and Chastity's relationships became entangled with drama. She shares how after Anaya's birth, he wanted them to be a family, but by then, she was already with Mr. Murray. Miss Weaver firmly believes that Anaya resembles her son, adding another layer of complexity to the case.
It started to be dramatic.
After I had Anaya, he wanted us to be together.
Oh, after you had the baby, then he wanted to be a family.
Yeah.
But then by that time, you were already with Mr. Murray.
Yes.
But you maintain that he's the biological father of the child.
Yes.
But Anaya looks just like Fred.
Is any of Mr. Donaldson and Mr. Murray revealed to be the father of 18-month-old Anaya? The courtroom is filled with emotions as Miss Harris bravely faces the results. Her mother and Mr. Murray offer words of support, reminding her that Anaya will always be her baby. The search for Anaya's biological father remains unresolved, leaving everyone on edge.
You are not the father. I know, honey.
Hold your head up, baby girl.
Yep.
It's gonna be okay.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
I don't want to be on the camera no more, no.
Step into the arena of wild moments on paternity court. Miss Bronson embarks on a quest to uncover the truth about her biological father. Explosive revelations surface when Mr. Roberts, her believed father, faces doubts about paternity. Hold your breath as Mr. Banks steps into the picture, claiming to be the real father.
Your Honor, I feel Mr. Roberts is my father. He's the only father I've known for 29 years. That's my father.
Well, I always believed that Jasmine was my daughter. I never even knew anything about this gentleman here.
Mr. Roberts' world shatters when he learns the truth from Miss Blair, his fiancée, about the paternity doubts surrounding Miss Bronson. Trust is tested as Miss Bronson confides in Miss Blair, leading to an explosive confrontation with Mr. Roberts. Stay tuned for the intense courtroom drama as Judge Lake unravels the secrets in this emotional roller coaster.
My mother told me that someone else could be my father.
But you said it to Miss Blair and not to Mr. Roberts.
Right. Me and Miss Blair built a good relationship, so I felt that I can confide in her about that. She was the only person that I trusted to tell that at that time.
Wild moments on paternity court continue as Mr. Banks reveals the jaw-dropping moment when he learned he could be Miss Bronson's biological father. In a chance encounter at the park, her mother dropped a bombshell, leaving Mr. Banks in disbelief. Tune in to see if the shocking resemblance leads to the truth, or adds another twist to this gripping tale.
When did you become aware that you potentially could be Miss Bronson's biological father?
I can recall when she was about 6 or 7, and I ran to her mother. She had told me that Jasmine was my daughter then.
Mr. Banks reveals he had no idea about Mr. Roberts' existence, his child support payments, or the struggles he faced in fulfilling his responsibilities. A shocking revelation unfolds as Mr. Roberts uncovers a hidden truth that could change everything. Stay tuned to see how this bombshell revelation impacts the fate of the case.
You didn't even know Mr. Banks existed.
No,
you did nothing.
I knew nothing of Mr. Banks. I even married her 2 months after Jasmine was born, and I went on my business as the start of my family.
In a jaw-dropping revelation, Miss Bronson discloses a Thanksgiving encounter with Mr. Banks in 2011. However, she kept this secret from Mr. Roberts, leaving everyone on the edge of their seats wondering why. What will happen next as the truth unravels and the pieces of this complex puzzle come together? Stay tuned for the shocking truth to be unveiled.
It was 2011.
Yeah, I don't know, because like nobody told me nothing. A lot of stuff was kept from me.
We'll get it. You piecing it together.
Yeah,
You just
best as I
piecing it
can.
together.
Yeah, best as I can.
Ms. Bronson, so you met Mr. Banks. You went to his home for Thanksgiving in 2011. That's true?
Yes, John. I went to his mother's house.
You went to his mother's house?
Yes.
Emotions run high as Mr. Roberts confronts the revelation that Miss Bronson kept a Thanksgiving encounter with Mr. Banks a secret from him. Hurt, betrayed, and longing for answers, Mr. Roberts and Mr. Banks seek the truth, while Jasmine demands more from her potential biological father. Who will be revealed as Miss Bronson's real father?
Her biological father or Mr. Banks. And I need to know as well because it's been a long time and I still can't get over that. They kept this from me. Like somebody should have said something.
Do you still feel that it's a very real possibility that Miss Bronson is your biological daughter?
Well, the only thing I can really go off is what the mother told me.
In an intense paternity court episode, Mr. Roberts' world turns upside down when he discovers a shocking revelation about his daughter Jasmine's paternity. Emotions run high as the truth unfolds, and Mr. Banks emerges as a potential contender. Witness the heart-wrenching drama and wild moments on Paternity Court.
Mr. Roberts, you are not the father.
Still my daughter. I love you. You always gonna be my daughter.
Brace yourself for some wild moments on Paternity Court as Miss McCrary seeks to prove that Mr. Goodson is the father of her 18-month-old miracle baby, Arian McCrary. Emotions run high as she accuses him of doing nothing for their daughter. Mr. Goodson, however, is adamant that he's not the father and refuses to take responsibility.
Ms. McCrary, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant is the father of your miracle baby, 18-month-old Arian McCrary. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim Mr. Goodson has done nothing for your daughter, but today that's going to change.
As tensions escalate, Miss McCrary confronts Mr. Goodson about his lack of acknowledgement towards their daughter, Arian. Emotions are running high as she expresses her hurt and frustration. Mr. Goodson denies being Arian's father, claiming he never knew about her. Stay tuned for the shocking revelations that could change everything in this gripping paternity dispute.
He was with his other family. If I see you with your teenage children and you walk past us, how would that make you feel, Your Honor?
And it hurts you that he walked right past the baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Goodson, did you walk past Arian in the store and not even acknowledge her at all?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
Miss McCrary shares intimate details about the night she conceived Arian with Mr. Goodson. The audience laughs as she humorously describes their date at American Deli and their enjoyable time together. With passion in her voice, she emphasizes that they had unprotected sex that night. The anticipation builds as we await the DNA test results that could determine Arian's paternity.
Okay, he likes to eat. I like to eat. Not a problem, okay? Extra chicken, extra cheese, sub sandwich.
Yeah,
okay.
up enough.
So with that being said, when you're grown, you're nasty, you get in tune.
The courtroom is filled with shock as Mr. Goodson reveals that Miss McCrary had been sleeping with someone else during their break. He expresses his confusion and questions why she informed him about the pregnancy when they hadn't been talking for 3 to 4 months. Who is the real father of 18-month-old Arian?
I get a call and say, hey, I'm pregnant. And so I was, my expression was like, well, why you telling me? And she had told me that, she had been, sleeping with someone else.
Oh, wait, when's that part come in?
I can't remember the exact discussion we was having, but I know it came to the point about seeing other people. Then she say,
Miss McCrary reflects on Mr. Goodson's reaction to meeting their baby for the first time. She recalls feeling like she had doubts all along. But as he held little Arian in his hands, she hoped he would see the resemblance and embrace the possibility of being her father.
I'm sitting there with my daughter. Relative took my daughter, placed her in his hands. You didn't ask to see her for real. A woman gonna be a woman, a man gonna be a man. If you already know what it takes to be a father in a kid's life, you gonna be there regardless, even if you have doubts. Period, point blank.
In the gripping case of McCrary versus Goodson, the truth about the paternity of 17-month-old Arian McCrary is about to be unveiled. Judge Lake's decision will determine whether Mr. Goodson is the father or not. The tension in the courtroom is palpable, as everyone awaits the moment of revelation.
Mr. Goodson, you are the father. You are the father.
Okay, well, I want to apologize to you. Now that it's over with, you'll never have another problem out of me.
In this thrilling episode, Miss Hall and her mother are furious with defendant Mr. Richards, who denies being the father of 1-month-old Damani. Emotions run high as accusations fly, and the truth about paternity hangs in the balance. Judge Lake investigates this compelling dispute.
What she thirsty for? He ain't got nothing. She just made a mistake and messed with somebody and got a baby. And now we trying to see if my grandson let him know that he's the dad.
As the tension rises on paternity court, Miss Hall opens up about her mixed emotions when Mr. Richards reached out to her. With the past still lingering, she contemplates giving him another chance. But what follows could change everything. Uncover the twists and turns in this captivating case as Judge Lake digs deeper into their complicated story.
Miss Hall, were you happy to hear from him?
Kinda. It ended bad, but in the same token, I did like him. When he hit me up, it kinda like, oh, I think I should give him another chance. Maybe it'll work out this time. But
all right.
Mr. Richards shares the shocking moment when he discovered suspicious text messages and an unexpected figure outside Miss Hall's house. The drama unfolds as he confronts her about the messages, and emotions run high. Stay tuned to witness the explosive confrontation that changes the course of this compelling dispute.
And when she went out there, I grabbed her phone and went through her phone. The text message is from someone saying that I'm outside. I didn't say anything. I sent the message like, I seen the messages in your phone, but I seen the guy across the street and that's where it ended. I told her to block my number.
The truth comes to light as the date of conception becomes a critical factor in determining paternity. Miss Hall and Mr. Richards are at odds, and the court delves into the timing of their encounter. Sparks fly as both sides present their case, and the anticipation builds for the final revelation.
I mean, look, it only takes one time, but he was just there for a week. So it would be easy to calculate in terms of a conception window, whether he was even in town then.
January 11th.
Getting into January, and I was gone by January 9th. I took pictures the day I was leaving when I got on the bus.
But even if he said he was gone January 9th.
Miss Hall and Mr. Richards are at odds once again, with conflicting testimonies surrounding the mysterious man outside her gate. The court delves deeper into the truth, uncovering more shocking twists that could turn the case upside down. Don't miss a moment of these wild and dramatic events as the mystery unravels.
She told me that the man that I seen standing outside, that when I went out there to get the water, that said he was outside in her phone, she said that man was the man.
Because he sent the text, I'm outside.
I'm outside. That's the man that brings gifts.
Was he outside, Miss Hall? Was that him? Was he outside at that time?
No.
The courtroom on Paternity Court is filled with tension and anticipation as Miss Hall and Mr. Richards engage in a heated dispute. Accusations fly, emotions run high, and the truth about paternity remains a mystery. Judge Lake investigates this compelling case, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats, eager to uncover the truth.
Mr. Richards, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are the father.